So Vartika, thank you so very much and a very warm welcome on Shiksha's platform.
Hello all. Thank you so much, ma'am, for inviting me for this webinar. So I'm Vartika Mittal. I have cracked CLAT PG 2022 and will be joining National Forensic Sciences University under Ministry of Home Affairs for my LLM program. So after cracking CLAT PG 2022, I was eligible for several NLUs, including NLU Raipur, NLU Orissa, and many more. So I was confused whether to join NLU or NFSU. So I had a discussion with my mentors, and I guess that was the best advice that I received. And I'll be joining National Forensic Sciences University, which has been established by Ministry of Home Affairs, especially to cater the needs of forensic experts. So looking forward for a great session with you all today.
I'm sure, absolutely. And I think all the students who are joining us here are excited and they have registered just to know more about, because I could see here in chat, Sanjana is already putting that down. That's great to see the kind of efforts and the seriousness they all are showing here, because of course, CLAT law is not an easy thing, and I'm sure you would agree to that, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, Vartika, let's start off with your, preparation, definitely, because they all are here for CLAT 2023, and they'll be preparing very, with so much of effort for the next 4 months. And they all need that kind of experience and strategies that definitely you have tried for yourself, that worked for you, and you got into such a prestigious institute. So we would like to start. How was your preparation? How did you start from scratch?
So firstly, before that, I would like to say that it's a great coincidence today that we are planning this webinar today. And from today itself, the registration for CLAT 2023 has started. So it's a great thing for the students who are going to appear for CLAT 2023. So personally, for this year, I prepared for CLAT PG basically. So I'm seeing that there are students from CLAT UG also. So I'll be dealing with it afterwards. So firstly, I'll deal with CLAT PG preparation strategy. So if you look at the syllabus, there is no well-defined syllabus on the consortium's website. They have just mentioned about the subjects like constitution, criminal law, jurisprudence, public international law. So if we'll see the major subjects that we have to focus upon, so they are constitution, criminal law, jurisprudence, and international law. So I basically relied upon the one-liners book and AKGen series book for the notes. You are not supposed to attend any live video lectures or something like that. That will just waste your time. आप बस one-liner series books लीजिए and अपने short notes you have to prepare. Majorly for this exam, you have to practice as much as MCQs you can, because we all have heard this. Practice makes a person perfect. क्योंकि आप जितने MCQs आप attempt करेंगे, आपको उससे idea लगता जाएगा कि किस तरीके के questions the consortium can ask you. And when it comes to like coaching, I didn't take any coaching personally, but I did take mock test series. And from the very first day, I started giving mock tests because it's an exam of 2 hours. It's very important for any competitive exam to manage your time. And firstly, before starting your preparation, go through the past year papers. From 2020, the pattern has changed. Now it's the passage-based questions that they are asking you. So for jurisprudence and international, you still can answer questions from the passage. But for other subjects, for the other major subjects, including constitution, criminal law, you have to focus upon the subject. You have to have the static knowledge. It doesn't mean that they're providing you the passage, so you leave the static portion. You have to master the subject on its own. You practice as much as questions you can. And for judgments, like the passages are based on latest judgments. So what you can do is to subscribe to any YouTube channel, or you can take up any case law series specifically, or they are like on live law itself, you have that a full PDF of 100 landmark judgments and all, then you can prepare for it. Now coming to CLAT UG students, so what I've seen is like from 2020, the pattern of it has also changed. Like it's the passage-based questions they are asking. For English, they are mainly giving you reading comprehensions. For that, you can refer to Arihant. So now coming to GK and CA, it's very difficult for students to cater. Now, if we'll see that most of the students are starting from scratch now, when just 4 months are left. And for GK, past 1 year is very important. And most importantly, past 6 months is something that you can't leave. So now how to cater the same? Because from now onwards, I'll start reading newspapers. But what about the backlogs? How will I complete that? So you can subscribe to any YouTube. I trust me, guys, you don't have to take any coaching. On YouTube, everything is available to you. You just have to search for the same. So on YouTube, you will get certain monthly current affairs, monthly MCQs, and something like that. Now coming to Quant. So for Quant, you can refer to the R.S. Agarwal book. See, for CLAT UG, what is required is not the basic knowledge, nothing like that. What is required is the practice. Because anything could be asked in the exam. For PG, the thing is different. For PG, we have already studied those law subjects in our law school. So there, the need of legal knowledge is a must. Now, coming to legal portion for CLAT UG, I've seen that they are again giving you passages. But when you go to the consortium's website, they have written that no prior knowledge of law is required. But I would suggest go and read those subjects like constitution, the major portion, criminal, contract, because they are asking questions from contract. See, what will it happen will be, you are already aware of the subject. If you will be aware of the subject at the time of exam, it's going to cost you time. Because for any competitive exam, what is required, not just the knowledge, but how you manage the exam in that time frame. It's just 2 hours and you have to solve 150 questions. And that too so big, like paragraphs of 5 to 6 lines. And they have themselves written that per paragraph will take 5 to 7 minutes to solve it. So if you have the prior knowledge of the law subject, then it would be much easier for you to cater the legal reasoning portion. English, you can do it from reading comprehension. So daily read a newspaper, and for backlogs, go and search it on the YouTube, or like there are various websites like GK Today and various others. You can search it on Google, and that would be much easier for you to cater the GK and CA part.
I think we've briefly started with the preparation thing. Okay. I just wanted to show all of you certain things, like, during the webinar, it might happen that we may miss out on certain queries. So for that reason, I've just shared a link where you can always come back and post your queries. And I would request Vartika that she can take out time and answer your queries, post her answers over there, because that's possible that we may not be able to pick up all your queries in the next 60 minutes. So probably that would help you. You can just, show your queries there. So I'll just share my screen and probably you can see. So I think all of you can see my screen. Yes. So this is the page. I have already shared the link, right? This is the webinar page. So you can ask your questions here, where already, Vartika, we have got few questions for you. So we'll definitely try and pick up these questions. So all of you can always put your queries here, and maybe Vartika can always come back and, answer your queries there. Okay. So this is something that you can always do after the webinar also. Okay. So that is what something I wanted to show all of you. This page is here, and I'll just share the link. So yes, it's a coincidence. To be honestly, I didn't know about it, that the webinars, that the registrations are starting from 4 p.m. for CLAT 2023. So I think that's a very good timing that we could have here, right? Okay. So Vartika, let's come to some queries that I've already started receiving. Okay.
Yes.
So another very, of course, the obvious question is when we're talking about CLAT preparation for the next 4 months. So Sakshi says that are 4 months enough if they're starting from scratch? Are the 4 months enough for the preparation?
To be honest, I myself prepared just in 3 months, and I had just like 1 or 2 months. If the exam could not have been postponed, it got postponed. So I had 3 months to prepare for the same. So like 4 months are quite enough to prepare for the exam. But what requires is the right strategy to approach this exam. Apko, you have to manage the time. Like you will be preparing for your board exams too. Don't ignore that just for CLAT. You have to score well there too. So, and most importantly, this time CLAT is happening in December. So you will be having time for boards afterwards. Earlier, it mostly used to clash with the board exam. So that was a major problem at that time. But now it's like quite easier for you to prepare for CLAT in 4 months. Just make out a proper strategy. Like I'm not in favor of timetable, but I'm in favor of daily tasks. Take up a notebook, write down that, yes, I have to complete this topic of logical reasoning. I have to complete this topic. I have to practice these much questions. And yes, by 12 p.m. at night, 12 a.m. at night, you have to make sure that, yes, I've completed all these tasks of mine. If you'll adhere to this strategy, I'm sure that you'll be able to clear this exam in 4 months.
Absolutely. So I think, Sakshi, you can really start preparing. Okay, so don't just worry, keep it aside. And I think if she can, crack so well, she got into so many NLUs and she chose National Forensic University. So you can understand that within 3 months, she could do this. So I think all of you can do that, right? So right from today, start working on your entire preparation strategies. Okay. Okay. Let's come to some more queries. Okay, I could see another one asking about ILS Pune. So, Vartika, any idea about like how is ILS Pune for this?
Yes, coming to it, it is a good law college, but when you can crack CLAT, why to think of another college? You can crack CLAT. Prepare for it. You have 4 months. Go for it.
Absolutely. Okay. I saw another question from Manpreet. Okay, Manpreet says that he or she is in 12th, and so are they eligible for CLAT?
Yes, yes, they are eligible for CLAT. They are like, they'll be completing their 12th by 2023, right? In 2020. Yes, so it's for you guys only, basically.
All right. So Manpreet, I think that answers your query. Okay. Okay. Coming to the next question from Sanjana, I think current affairs section. So when we come to the different sections of CLAT, so there are a few queries related to English. There are a few queries related to current affairs. So probably we can like pick up section wise. How do they prepare section wise for CLAT?
Okay, so for English, as I've already talked about, they're majorly asking you reading comprehension. So firstly, what you have to focus upon is your reading speed. रीडिंग स्पीड बट विद एक्यूरेसी. बस ऐसे नहीं कि मैं पढ़ती जाऊं मुझे कुछ समझ ना आए उसमें, क्योंकि दैट इज अगेन वेस्टिंग माय ओन टाइम. यू हैव टू मेक श्योर. अब what you can do is like take up a newspaper and like set a timer that in how much time am I able to complete this paragraph, but with a proper understanding. That is a must, not just for English section, but because of the new pattern, they are asking you passage based questions in each and every section. So you have to make sure firstly to have a good reading speed, but with accuracy. I'm repeating this word accuracy because most important thing, because if you're just reading it so it's just a wasting of your time. In 2 hours, you'll not be able to complete. There'll be many other competitors of yours who are reading it properly and answering those questions. For English, go for good books like Arihant. There's a book by Arihant on reading comprehension. Go for that. Go for vocabulary. Like you can search on the YouTube itself. It's not even needed to buy a book specially for vocabulary, because you don't know what's going to be asked in the paper on the D day. So go on the YouTube, search for important vocab, everything, and make it a habit. Most important is to be make it a habit and revise it daily. So this is how you can cater the English portion. Now coming to the logical portion, logical reasoning. So there is a book by, I guess, Law Nerd, which is catering the new pattern of CLAT PG. You can go through it, because what I have seen in the past question year papers from 2020, the year from which the pattern has changed, is like now they are more focusing upon the critical analysis and not the analytical questions much. So for critical analysis, you have to have a basic understanding of the certain terms, and that book is the best to deal with it. And now coming to the legal reasoning, as I've already told you guys, to have a command over subject beforehand. Though consortium says and perfectly writes over there that no prior knowledge of law is required, but if you have the knowledge of law prior, it would be easier for you, because now your speed will double. Your speed will be more than the students who will be reading it for the very first time. So go for that and solve as much as questions you can. Like there is a book by AP Bhardwaj, though it's on the old pattern, but it will help you to cater the legal knowledge at least. Now coming to the current affairs that I've already discussed. For Quant also, you can go for RS Agarwal. Answering to Shazel, yes, 50 students can apply for CLAT PG. You can register yourself on the consortium. I was also in my fifth year itself when I registered for the CLAT PG. Okay, so I hope this answers. Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, I got logged out. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are.
Okay, just give me a second, all of you. Okay. All right. So just coming back to my query, was that about the CLAT PG, they have a question that is there a changed pattern, and for the next CLAT PG like 2023, when is that approximate date to be happen? If you can like share few insights about it.
So CLAT PG, I guess the date has already been announced by the consortium. It's on 18th December. So you have 4 months full to prepare for it. Coming up to the syllabus on the consortium website, if you'll go through the syllabus part, they have just mentioned about the subjects like criminal law, constitution, taxation, labor law. Now, what we can do is we can divide these subjects into three portions: the most important ones, and the least important ones, from which a question can be asked or cannot be asked. So what we have to focus upon is the most important subjects like constitution, criminal law, jurisprudence, and international law. Now coming to the important part, that is family law and another laws, and yes, and the least important are the taxation, labor law, company law. So to prepare for the most important part, go for some one-liner series or notes. There is a no need to take up the coaching. Like I've seen when I was myself preparing for it, I searched for several coachings. I saw there are various people who are providing video lectures to you, like 250 plus hours video lectures. There's no need of the same because we have already studied these subjects in our law school. We have a knowledge over it. What is required over is to revise and memorize the things that we have already studied. Most important, revise these subjects regularly. This is where I lagged. I always kept a day that I'll do the revision, but I wasn't revising. I was just reading. And this I realized when just 15 days were left for CLAT PG, and when just I opened my notebook, I was like blank. I was like, I don't know anything what I've studied. So I had to double up the speed to remember things and memorize things. So, and one more thing is what is required in CLAT PG is to give mock test from the very first day, like one mock test per week, because this is something that you already know. This is not something that you, if you study, then only you'll be able to answer. So you can give mock test from the very first day of the preparation.
Absolutely. Okay. So coming to some more queries. Okay. I think someone just asked about preparation in 4 months. So I think we just picked up that question. Okay. So maybe you can just go back to the video once it's uploaded and, have a discussion on that. Okay. Aditya wants to know, can you please throw some more light on how to prepare for current affairs? So, Vartika, if we can have a few detailed thing about current affairs section.
See, like I'll give you an example. See, current affairs are important both for CLAT UG and CLAT PG. If you'll go through the 2022 paper of UG and PG, you'll see that Ukraine and Russia war is the most important topic if you'll see through the news and everything. So you'll be able to understand like what all topics are important through newspapers, through news headlines. So what happened was in CLAT UG, the question was asked from Ukraine and Russia war regarding like who is the president of Ukraine. And the same passage was given in the CLAT PG asking about the legal perspective of the same, like under which section, under which international law the Russia is taking protection against its actions. So this is how things have to be done. You have to go through the latest headlines and you have to prepare notes for current affairs, because again they're asking you current affairs in UG after giving a passage itself. So if you're reading an editorial, make sure you know the past history of it, what's happening right now. Now what is generally advised is like to cater the current affairs portion is to go back to the past 1 year current affairs. But what I have seen is like thing which started in 2019 but is still relevant in 2022 is still being asked, and we generally leave that portion considering it to be like something which happened in 2019. But for consortium it's important, yes, because it's happening right now too. So you have to cater those topics also. Again, you just don't have to focus upon just past 1 year. Do see for things which were relevant then but are relevant now too. So go for those topics also for current affairs.
Absolutely. Okay, Aditya, I think that works for you, right? Okay. Guys, I lost few of your questions in Q&A. So it'll be great if you can just come back again with your questions here in Q&A. Okay. Coming to some other questions from Rutuja. Okay. So Rutuja, I think we're sharing Vartika's strategy regarding CLAT PG. Okay. Okay. So Vartika, I think she wants to know strategies with respect to CLAT PG, especially with judgments. So if you can like specially focus on that.
Yeah, judgment is the most important part after the 2020 pattern has changed. So like one more thing I would like to tell you, like it has been shown in such a way that judgment is very difficult to cater for the CLAT PG. But what I have witnessed during my preparation is judgments have actually made CLAT PG more easier. Now it will be more ironical for you guys to listen to this statement, but this is what I have experienced through my journey. Earlier it was just objective based questions, like the scope was very much widened because consortium has just mentioned you the subjects. They haven't given you any detail like what topics to study, what else to study. So earlier they could have asked questions, objective questions from any topic, but now if you see in detail, the scope has been restricted. You just have to see for the latest judgments. You have to see for the topics. You have to see for the issues that are being dealt in the latest judgments. And you now know the probability from where the questions can be asked. So for judgments, what I did was I took case law series because there were just 3 months. It was not possible for me to prepare full notes and everything. But yes, I didn't only rely on the case law series. I also referred to certain YouTube channels and like judiciary prep channels who provide us with the monthly judgments and all. And I also relied upon the live laws, like they provide a full PDF, a combined PDF of 100 landmark judgments of 2021, 2022. So you have to focus upon those judgments. One more advice for you all is to do not have a deeper study of those judgments. What is required the most is the name of the case, the bench, what has been held, particularly the main thing that has been held, and the law under which it has been catered. Prepare a notebook, write down the specific law, and write down the judgment related to that law. Like divide your notebook into several parts. Because if you write all the judgments in a single way, that would again create a problem at the end. Now, what you can do after reading the judgment, you know the area from which you have to prepare your MCQs. Now you just practice those MCQs, but do not leave others too, because consortium can ask. Like this time, what happened was Juvenile Justice Act is not there in the syllabus, but it's something related to criminal law. So a full passage, full 6 questions were there from JJI. I was able to answer those questions because I had already studied in my case law series regarding the JJI. So this is what is required. You have to think one step ahead of the judgment. You just don't have to confine to that syllabus. I myself prepared for arbitration. Though arbitration didn't come for the exam, it was not even mentioned. But when you are going for a competitive exam, you have to be prepared for everything. Anything can happen. You have to prepare. You have to be prepared for unexpected things. That is the piece of advice for you all.
Absolutely. I totally agree to your answer, Vartika. Okay. Okay, guys, just coming to your queries. Don't worry. Okay. So as you mentioned about YouTube, so I find another question related to that, if you can suggest some YouTube channels that they can, take help from and learning in the last 4 months.
There's this channel of Legal Edge for UG, like current affairs that they might be asking, na ma'am?
Yeah, I think the overall preparation they're looking for.
Okay, so for UG, you can go for Legal Edge. You can go for any analysis. Because you know what, current affairs is something which is asked in almost all of the competitive exams, and it is required for all of the competitive exams. Just stick to one YouTube channel for current affairs. I'll not suggest to go for to cover up my current affairs from here also, from here also. That would just at the end confuse you guys. For CLAT PG, again, you can refer to the Legal Edge after college. I refer to Sambhav Law and Juris Edge also. Like what I did was I did subscribe for the mock test series. I started giving mock tests from the very beginning, but I did also give the free mock test so that I could understand like what other coaching institutes think about the exam pattern. So you can give free mock test also.
Right. So I think that helps in your query. Okay. Coming to some books, okay. So Skita wants to know, could you please suggest some good books for CLAT 2023 as well as for IELT, each for current affairs and GK and logical reasoning aptitude. Okay, so Vartika, if you can help them out with some suggestion for books.
For logical reasoning, as I already suggested, there is this book by Law Nerd. It's on the latest pattern of logical reasoning on the basis of passage-based questions. For current affairs, if you'll go through the websites, there are Drishti IS and many other who are providing with the monthly compendiums. But then again, you have to skim it through it because those are of IS levels, and you have to make sure like you can go through the past year papers and analyze it properly and then understand the need of the exam. And then accordingly, you have to shortlist all the GK part that you have to cater for it. For static GK, you could go for any general book and you can search it on the Google which one is the best book for the static GK, because they are mentioning the current affairs, but static GK could also be asked into the same.
Okay. Okay, Debashish, I think she has already suggested books for logical reasoning, so just cater to this video. Okay. How much time should we dedicate daily to preparation? So if, if they have to have a study plan or, something in the mind setup that, okay, every day we're going to dedicate this much of time to the preparation and complete the entire syllabus. So how do they go about it,
So that again depends upon if you are a UG student, you have to attend your school too. So after 2 o'clock, you'll be able to give time to the preparation of the same on Saturday and Sunday. So you can divide. So what I told in the beginning itself, don't go for a timetable, go for a daily task. Write down at the night that what all I have to cover the next day. And that is something that will depend on person to person, that what they are weak at, what the person has to work upon. So that is something you have to work upon. You have to make your own strategy. The strategy will be different for each and every person because they have their different schedules for a day. For CLAT PG, same thing. What you have to do is you have to think upon to complete the major subjects firstly, as I've suggested earlier, the most important subjects. Then go for the important subjects, and then for the least important subject. But for UGs, the thing is somewhat different. You have to prepare for each section daily, and you have to keep up the daily task. Don't go for timetable. I'm again and again saying this because timetables are being made not to follow. You have to make daily task only so that you know what are your needs of the day.
Absolutely. I think a lot of them would agree to that they are creating, but I don't think how much could they follow. Okay. So Garima, okay, Garima is saying that, ma'am, for English who has weak. Okay. So I think there are students who are, having a bit of weakness in English, might have dropped. So anything for those?
Ma'am, could you please repeat the question?
Sure, sure. So I think Garima is asking about someone for students like who are, a bit weak in English and probably are droppers and are looking ahead, to prepare well and crack the exam well. So for them, especially, what would you like to suggest?
See, what is required is the practice then. As I've already suggested, go for one newspaper. I would suggest to go for Indian Expressway, not the Hindu, because then it would be much more difficult. Go for an easy newspaper, improve your reading skills, improve your understanding skills that you are reading it in a proper time limit. Like put a stopwatch or a timer that in how much time are you completing the same. You can go for some mock test series and MCQs. That is the only thing that will help you to prepare to ace this portion. Because as much as you practice, more is the perfection that comes within.
Okay. Ankur, I think for logical reasoning, she has already discussed about R.S. Agarwal, right? So just go back to the video, and she has also told how to prepare from scratch. So probably you'll just have to watch the video again, okay? She has already shared this entire thing in the beginning of the video. Quant section, I think, Vartika, you did discuss about quant section as well.
Yes, I have suggested the book for the same. It's just required is the practice for the same. Practice questions and then write down what formulas work for you. Because in the very beginning, you can't anticipate what type of questions can be asked. It could only be anticipated if you practice as much as you can. Practice questions, maintain a copy, write down the formulas that work for you, and solve similar kind of questions to ace that part.
Yes. So I think Arushi, she has already suggested few books and the strategies. So just refer to this video again. So probably you'll get a good hold of that. Okay. So Sanjana wants to know any newspaper which is best for GK or current affairs that you would like to suggest.
Any newspaper is best. I suggested Indian Express way for the ones who are like weak in English at the beginning, because Hindu would be much more difficult for you than it at the very starting. So you can start with Indian Expressway, then you can jump to the Hindu. What is required is like to improve your reading skills with an understanding, and the other part, what news are in headlines. So that would most probably be same in both the newspapers.
Absolutely. Okay. Arushi is saying, please tell us about the books from where we can practice passage-based quant questions.
See, I'm not aware of any book that specifically deals with it. So you can go for some mock test series of from the coaching institutes that are like giving mock tests or MCQs in this regard. So I'm not aware of any passage based questions. Like you can go for another books like R.S. Agarwal that deals with it.
Okay. Okay. What about Times of India? Okay, Parikha is saying that what about Times of India?
And Times of India is generally not recommended to prepare for competitive exam, the Hindu or Indian Express, in my opinion. Otherwise, it's up to you.
Absolutely. Okay. So Garima is also saying that if they have backlog for GK, so like if they're sitting for December exam, so how do they go about covering those backlogs and preparing ahead for someone who has lacked a lot of things? So what I feel from this question is that she might face certain kind of underconfidence, while preparing for the next attempt, and probably that's how Garima is trying to figure out things. So if you would like to suggest something, especially to Garima.
See, as I suggested, you could go for monthly compendiums or like YouTube channels. But if you are finding it difficult to find out the best suited channel for you, then you could go for some coaching. They will definitely be providing you the monthly based current affairs. But then again, I suggest you then stick to one only. Don't go for कि मुझे यहाँ से भी material मिल जाए, मुझे यहाँ से भी material मिल जाए, because at the end that will be going to confuse you. Just stick to one.
Absolutely. Okay, Garima, so Joan, I can feel from your queries that you'll be worrying about it. So just don't worry. Give your best and just follow all the strategies that Vartika is sharing here. Okay. So don't worry. Sanjana, we have already recommended YouTube channels, dear. If you can just go back to this video and you can get the answers. Okay. Okay, I'll just come to some more queries. Okay, Dinesh says, can you please tell how to make preparation for CLAT, because we have to manage both 12th and CLAT and we are not finding time for CLAT preparation. I think, Vartika, you mentioned this before starting that this might be a problem. So see, I am getting questions for that. What would you like to say?
Okay, this time I think it's beneficial for you guys. Actually, earlier it used to clash it with board, but now after CLAT you'll be still be having time to prepare for boards. So you can manage both. I managed my 10th semester and CLAT PG. After 9th semester, I just had 3 months to prepare for the same. It's just that you should be clear in your mind that yes, I want good marks in boards and in CLAT, and but this time is more beneficial to you because after CLAT you still have, I guess, 3 to 4 months to prepare for your boards exams.
So I think, Dinesh, if you can really find a way, you can really do it. Okay. Okay, Sanjana saying it'll be fine if we just score 60 to 70% in boards. Okay, Vartika, what would you have to say on that?
It depends upon you. Yeah, I don't think there's much issue, but you can prepare for boards. Why are you thinking beforehand that you'll score less in boards if you want to score more in CLAT? It's not the scenario. You can prepare for both the exams. It's just that you have to manage. You have to make it very clear to your mind कि ठीक है अभी भी मैं boards की तैयारी करूंगी. But yes, थोड़ी थोड़ी करूंगी. More I'll be focusing on CLAT. But once the CLAT is over on 18 December, you have much time. You can prepare for it. I myself was from non-medical, but still I prepared for CLAT for this exam because I never thought of this कि यार CLAT निकल जाएगा, board में कम आएंगे. सोचना ही नहीं है हमको दोनों पे प्रॉपरली फोकस करना है और अभी तो आप और अच्छे से फोकस कर सकते हो, अभी थोड़ा फोकस कीजिए, प्रायोरिटाइज कीजिए अपनी क्लैट प्रिपरेशन को. आफ्टर 18 December, focus on your boards.
Absolutely. I think absolutely this is the strategy I would say that you guys can really need to follow. So just hold on to that with a lot of patience. And I'm sure both can be managed very well, as Vartika is saying. Okay, Vartika, I'll pick up few questions that we have already received on our page. This question is coming from Yogesh, and he wanted to know what marks is required for CLAT PG exam.
Like to sit for this exam, what is required is 50%, I guess, for general category, and 45% for the other reserved category. And if he's asking about like what marks are required to crack an NLU, so then it depends upon every year's strength, like how the paper was, the difficulty level of paper each year, and how many students are sitting for the same. So like as per my experience this year, the students who are like who are getting ranked till 1500, 1600, but are in general category, are getting into an NLU. And for reserved category, if you are like having a rank of 2000, 3000, you are still getting good NLU. So that again depends upon every year's cutoff and everything.
So, Vartika, coming to your entire experience, you did manage to get seats in some of the NLUs and you chose National Forensics. So just tell us a few things, a few experience about, how did you manage to get into NLUs and then you chose National Forensic, and I mean, what could be the best possible reason of choosing National Forensic and your entire experience of that?
So like when the result was out, I was like, I was hoping to get into an NLU. So my journey is like, earlier I was trying to get into an NLU, and then I was trying to like change from NLU to National Forensic Science University. It is a whole journey that I would say, like I participated into the CLAT counseling process. I got into the NLUs like NLU Odisha, HNLU Raipur, but somewhat in my mind, I was like, कुछ और अच्छा हो, कुछ और अच्छा हो. You always have that hope. So like most importantly, I'm also preparing for judiciary. So I wanted to be like near to my place, near to my home, so that I could give my exams that I'm eligible for after graduation. So what happened was like I paid all my fees to the NLUs. I paid my counseling fees and the balance fee that is all required. So suddenly I received an email and a call from the National Forensic Sciences University stating that on the basis of your CLAT PG performance, like in the merit list itself, I secured first rank. So I was confused now to where to go. So I had a discussion with my mentors, the director sir of my college, of my UG college. So he suggested me to go for, he bluntly said me that go for an NFSU. I'll not suggest to go for an LU, go for an NFSU because it's one of its own kind of university in India. There are many NLUs. They were providing LLMs in different streams, corporate stream, business law, and other law. But National Forensic Sciences University is being specially established by Ministry of Home Affairs. Like it's the only university in India. So he told me, like, just go for this university because it's one of its own kind. You'll be if you'll remember, there was a poem in our school time, The Road Less Traveled. Go for that road, which is less traveled by the students. So I joined National Forensic Science University because it's basically dealing with the LLM in criminal law and forensic science. So like I'll be having less competition when I'll pass out because there'll be very less students in this stream.
So should we say that getting into forensic university was like your ultimate dream thing that came true, and probably that would pave out a clearer way to your aims, your final ambitions?
To be honest, like I filled for this exam for the National Forensic Science University on the last date of its registration. So I would, जब मेरा selection हुआ, it was like the dialogue of in a movie ना कि सारी कायनात आपको मिलाने में लग जाती है. That I thought कि हाँ, nature has its role to play where you have to go. So yes, after like getting into National Forensic Science, I always had interest in criminal law, and then too with the forensic science, and I'm preparing for judiciary exams. So definitely it's going to help me for the preparing for the same.
And I'm sure a lot of them who are preparing for CLAT, upcoming CLAT, they might have the similar kind of, ambitions of, getting into judiciary. So I think all of you have a lot of gaining today, a lot of experience that she is sharing here, that if you feel like if you're preparing something, you're dedicating yourself to something and you're, hard working towards it, I'm sure things will become easy for you, right? Okay, let me pick a few more questions from here. Okay, Ruchi has posted a question that, if a student clears his exam by open school board, then he or she is eligible to give CLAT or not?
I think they are eligible to give, but to have a more clarity, they could contact the consortium's help desk. That would be like they'll give the more clarity to them, or they could even mail to them. Like they are very considerate with the queries of students that I have seen. When I took admission into NLU, so I had to withdraw my admission from there to take admission into NFSU. So like they are very considerate with the same. They help out the students in a very good way.
All right. Thanks, Vartika, for that answer. I'll quickly move to the next question that I saw here from Isha. Okay. So Isha says that I am CS aspirant and I want to crack CLAT. So how do I go about it? Okay. So I think two very different streams she's turning to. So how often do we see this happening, and how can they go about it?
I have not seen anyone like this in my knowledge in my friends circles and everything. But yes, in CS you deal with law, so you have that connection with law. What is required is to put some more efforts into the same.
So, Isha, I think, just connect with us also, and probably we can help you out in more details. But yes, I think if you are preparing well, so be it from any stream, I think you can, go about it, right? Okay, I'll just come to a few more queries that I could see. I think we have already covered about GK and CA. Okay, I see another question from Pranjal, and he says that mock scores are constant for a long time now. How to increase? And
That
also, Vartika, if you can share a few things like about the importance of mock papers here as well.
see, as from the very beginning, I have been stating this that mock tests are very important. Be it for UG, be it for PG, you have to learn the time management scheme. Like in just 2 hours in UG, you have to attend 150 questions, and the same in PG, you have in 2 hours you have to attend 120 questions. So it requires a proper skill that is to be developed through mock tests. From the very beginning, I'm saying go for good mock test series. Like give one mock test at least per week, and it would be better if you give it at the time of CLAT, like from 2 to 4. And this happened with me also. Like there was a time when I was scoring constantly the same scores in my mock test. So what I did was I analyzed the mocks that I've already given and then I reattempted them. What we usually do is like we analyze it, we write down in our notebook, but we often do not reattempt those mock tests. Go and reattempt it and then see whether are you scoring the same scores. And one more thing you have to understand, the thing behind mock tests is like questions are limited. If it comes to PG, they are just same judgments. So the mock tests, the ones who are making mock tests, they are trying to come up with the questions from here and there and then adding it into the mock test. This happened with me. I'll tell you. Like I almost gave 30 mock tests during my preparation, like full mock test, full length mock test. So at the end, I was like bit of it. I was scoring less. But what I saw during the exam was I knew almost all the passages, the judgments from which they have been asked. Because in CLAT, there's just that one paper, but the same one paper is being divided over here in 30 mock tests. So obviously, they are going to ask you questions which are not even relevant. They will ask some questions. You will find some questions that are not relevant, and then you will feel I'm not scoring well. I'm not able to do this. So what I did was I maintained a copy, and then the questions which I were getting wrong or I was unable to attempt, I used to write it down on the same day. So what happened with me was it was 18th June. On 19th June, it was our CLAT exam. So I didn't take up my copy at that moment. I never revised the same. So what I did was on 18th June at night, I opened up that copy of my mock test just to see कि हाँ कुछ छूट ना जाए एक बार देख लेती हूँ. So what I saw was that was a bit of revision of what I have learned throughout the process. So I won't suggest that go through that notebook just one day before exam. But yes, you can go through that notebook at least 15 days prior. That would be a kind of revision for you.
All right. Thank you, Vardika, for that answer. And I've already shared again the link where you can post your queries after the webinar. And I think Vardika can take out some time and she can help you out with the queries. If there are certain things that you might want to know later on post the session gets over. And to all of you who were asking about like, when do we see the video and what about the recording? So let me tell you that this video will be available on our YouTube channel post edit. So give us a few days time. Once it's updated, we'll be sharing the links as well. So I've shared the YouTube channel link where you can subscribe the channel and keep the notifications button on so that whenever we post a video, you get the notifications immediately and you can all over see the entire video. Okay, so all the videos that you see, all the sessions that you're attending, all the sessions are available on our YouTube channel. Okay, so do not worry that you will miss out on any of the videos. That will not happen. Okay, so that will help you out. Okay, I have received, Vartika, another question about an NRI quota. Let's see if we can, help the student about this. So the question is like, which NLUs have NRI quota, and do NRI students have to fill any, separate application form for, this individual NLUs along with the CLAT application, if you have any idea on that?
I guess, yes, they have to fill up the CLAT application form and to the respective NLUs which have Cs for the NRIs. So for the same, what you can do is to visit the respective NLUs website regarding the seat matrix. And you can also visit the consortium's website where it has been mentioned, the tab which mentions like general instructions. In that itself about NRIs, it has been given like what all the process has to be followed for the same.
So for reference, I can share the website. I think that would help all of you. Yeah. Okay. Let me just share that website for all of you that Vardika is mentioning so that you guys can have a clarity. So Vardika, I think this is the right one, if I'm not wrong. Yeah.
Yes, yes,
so all of you can refer to this website so that you have a clear idea and a proper information and you do not miss out on any information. Also, Shiksha is constantly updating everything regarding the exams. So you can visit our website. This is the CLAT page that we have for the upcoming notifications. So you can always refer to these pages. They have all authentic information and we are constantly updating all the notifications that are coming around. And for any upcoming webinars itself, you can always refer to our LinkedIn pages. We are constantly putting up all the notifications that we're coming up along any webinar that you feel interested and want to be a part of those free webinars. You can always register and just be part of that, right? You don't need to do anything, just a simple registration process will help you. Okay, so before we move on, if you have any more queries, quickly drop in. I'm just launching a poll for all of you so that let's have some feedback. How would you like to rate the session out of 100%? If you like the session, if Vartika was able to answer your queries, if you could gain some insights and knowledge from all her experience that she's sharing here, please rate us 100%. And how much you would like to recommend these counseling webinars to your friends out of 1 to 10. Did you like the session? Extremely likely. Please rate us on 10. And if there was something that we missed out, you can always drop your queries here with us on our platform. So as I've always mentioned, Shiksha is through our, superbly talented students and toppers who are there to help you and guide you with their extreme knowledge and experience, right? So please make good use of these platforms and be part of our webinars. We're not just catering to one, we are catering to all the sections, all possible exams. And if you have any feedback, maybe you want to see some more sessions related to law, please drop us a feedback, okay? You have our mail IDs, just drop us that you want to see more of webinar on these, and probably I can help you get back to it. Yeah. So if you have any query, just drop in the chat instead of raising hand. Yes. Any more queries that you'd like to know, just drop in your query before we wrap up the session. Vartika, before, while they're filling up the form itself and before we move towards the wrap up of the session, your strong pieces of advices and suggestions you would like to give to all the aspirants.
So for any competitive exam, what is required the most is to stay motivated throughout this journey. It has been several times that I felt during my preparation that I can't prepare. I can't prepare. But when you see the result, all that journey is worth it. Stay motivated because it has been said, himmat te marda to madad e khuda. Go for it. You can crack it. You can do it. But just stay motivated throughout your journey. Give your best.
One last thing, Vartika, that I would definitely want you to tell them is that there are a lot of them, who I feel, through these queries might be very demotivated or, have been losing attempts and sitting for these exams, these tough competitive exams. So, just to motivate them, like as a experienced student who did not crack, who, just not cracked the exam, got into the one of the best institutes. So what would you like to tell them to, motivate them and tell them that, yes, definitely you can crack?
Okay, so all of you who have joined this session, it's a dream of yours. It's a dream of your parents. Do your best, give your best so that this dream comes true. Because trust me, guys, when after you'll get the result, the happiness that you'll see on the face of your parents is worth it. Just work for it, go for it. You can do it. Just every time you feel like I can't do it, just sit, relax, and you can take your time. It's not like that you have to overexert yourself. Don't do that. Go for just. I always used to say, like, I used to listen to motivational songs so that I could, like, just 2-3 days before the CLAT PG exam, I used to listen to motivational songs. Yes, I have to do it. I always wanted ki my name should be there in that list. I want that counseling call. I want my name to be there in that list. And with this perspective, trust me, you'll be able to crack it. And all the best to everyone who is attending this webinar and the ones who are preparing for it. You all can do it. If I can do it, you all can do it.
Absolutely. I totally agree. And Duha, if any of your queries are left out, just come back to the, page that I've already, shared here. Probably we'll have your answers. Okay. Don't worry. We'll definitely get your answers from Vartika. So just post your queries there. I've already shared the link with her. So just give her some time. And once she's free, she can always post the queries over there. Right. So don't worry. We'll try to, get back, and I'll definitely share those links with all of you as well. Post the video is edited and updated, right? So Vartika, firstly, thank you so very much for taking out time and sharing all those wonderful insights and experience that you had. And I wish you all the very best for your, future ahead at NFSU. And I'm looking ahead to get you in more such webinars where we can have more of your experience with the, and if you want to have more such, law sessions, send us your feedback, send us your recommendations, and we'll definitely arrange more such good sessions where you can, interact and, just ask your queries, and the experts are there to guide you, in the best possible way. So looking ahead with more such sessions, and thank you to all of you for being part of Shiksha's webinar platform.